And we're back with our conversation today with Stephanie Meadow, the author of the book Bella's Dancing Lesson. We've been talking to Stephanie not only about the journey of bringing Bella to life, but also about the important lesson she's been able to share, that when you fall down, that you don't have to stay down, you can get back up. So Stephanie, I remember when we were going through this book, and even in discussing it on the radio show, what really struck me was that we talked about a song, Conqueror, of course, by Adele, that was featured on the show Empire, and how even in that song, that kind of encapsulates what you've been able to share in Bella. Talk to us about how music like that has inspired you, as well as kind of provided the soundtrack for a book like this.
Well, I always look for positive music anyway, and I felt like Conqueror was very positive. It's just letting you know that in life, when you fall, you can conquer anything. And so far, I think I've done very well.
You make me smile all the time. And I think, it's a great reminder for us all. And I think, too, music like that, like we were saying about the internet, that is one of those positive things that we all, as the song says, people are going to expect certain things, but you don't have to prove them right. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. So when anyone, no matter where they live, because people outside of the state are buying your book or discussing it, helping us to share the message of the book, when anyone picks up a book like Bella's Dancing Lesson, what is your hope that they're able to take away from it as far as what's possible for them? Maybe for them it's not dancing, maybe it's not singing or whatever, but what do you hope they're able to realize about whatever their dream might be?
Well, whatever the dream might be, whether it's dancing, singing, acting, just give it what you got. Give it your best, give it your all. And I just think if you just take that in mind and just stick with it, you can conquer anything with that. So that's just basically what I would.
And we're back with our conversation with Jennifer Wagner, the author of the column Just Jennifer for Conversations magazine, and also just an all-around great person. We've been talking to her not only about her own life, but how she's been able to use it as an example for other people as to what they can accomplish. So kind of what our takeaway has been in this segment as we've been talking with people in this series, Jennifer, is, what is your hope? I mean, and I think for you, when I read your newest column that a lot of our online audiences are able to read, and that's Cat Hair in My Coffee, I think what happens sometimes, and we were talking with another guest, with author Stephanie Mitchell about the same thing, that when something happens, we sometimes we just want to fall down on the ground and just collapse and say, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. How have you been able to, as you talk about in that column, just to pluck that thing out and keep moving?
What other choice do you have? I mean, listen, you give up or keep going. Those are the only two options you have in life. So, scoop it out and go. That's kind of my thought behind that, was just scoop it out and drinking this coffee. So,
now let me ask you this. Did it take you a while to get to that point?
Oh yes, and I'm still working on it. I'm not there. I don't think anybody's ever just there. But every day you're closer. And you may not ever get there 100%. I probably won't either. But if you can just take small situations and bring good out of nothing, well, you've made it. I mean, it doesn't take gigantic things. But I've learned in life that when I can deal with small things better, the big things are easier to deal with, because you develop an attitude that way about it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it regardless, and just get past it. So.
Over the years, has your idea of what success looks like, has that changed?
Yes. I grew up in a family where success meant money. Success meant that you were, go on vacation every year, and I had a very successful dad, and, great parents. I grew up with great parents, but my idea of success is not the same these days. And, the way I feel is, if you can help another person in life with any situation and be kind to other people, make people feel good about themselves, you're successful. That's my personal idea of success, taking care of one another. And if you can take care of another person.
And we're back with Cyrus Webb Presents. Today we're speaking with Hollywood Luck. You all know him, of course, because of the music, but also the passion that he has for it. We've been talking to him about that, as well as how he's been able to use that passion to not only build a coalition, but also to build his brand. Look, we talked about the trip to California, right. and again, that was a trip to another place, but also, I think mentally, it was a trip to a larger place for you too, exactly. Because in some of the pictures you shared, I mean, we could tell that you were thinking bigger. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you think that was one of the big things that came out of that trip, that the vision got bigger and the dream got bigger for you?
That's probably the overall out of that whole trip was to think bigger than home. Just being out there made me think bigger than home. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the pictures maybe would perhaps, you know, make others think bigger than, you know what I'm saying? Not actually being there, but just seeing me out there will make them think bigger than just, you know, where we are.
You mentioned the passion earlier kind of being the driving force for you, but I'm curious. I mean, you know, there are so many people who have come and gone since you've been in the game. I mean, do you think the consistency also that you have? I mean, because passion, you know, is great, but the consistency you put out, I think, is a big factor for a lot of people. Do you think that's been why you've been able to stay in people's ears, because you have been so consistent?
They could play a small part, but you know, like I was saying, some people only listen to maybe one type of, you know, even the small consistency to the small number of people that do keep up with me and listen to all of my music. Yeah, that does keep me going. Whether it's, you know, 200 or 2 people that listen to everything I put out and like me, that keeps me.
And we're back with Cyrus Webb Presents. My guest today is Glenda L. Hunter. She's not only the author of several books, as you all can see here, and there's more to come. We'll tell you how you can stay connected with Glenda later. But we're talking to her not only about her story, what it's been like for her to be able to rise above her past, to be able to share her story, and to let other people know something very important. And Glenda, that is that they matter. And you matter. I mean, when you were able to embrace that for yourself, that your life mattered, that you were important, and that you had a purpose, how did that free you?
Well, you know, before it was like being all chained up and you couldn't hardly move. And as I began to realize that I do matter, the chains started falling off. And if you've ever had chains on, you know they're quite heavy. Yeah. And it just has helped me be able to express myself to other people and to open up to other people. If you don't think you matter, then you don't think anybody else wants to really get to know you.
Right. Exactly. And you've been able to share that not only in An Unspeakable Secret, but you take us through some very difficult times in your life through that book, through your marriage, what that was like for you. And then you allow, of course, your children, your sons, to be able to share as well. You know, do you think by making them a part of the journey, because they are anyway, whether we got to read about them or not, do you think that also was part of the healing for you?
It was, and I think it was a help to our children as well. Mm-hmm. You know, they were young. I think they were 10 and 11 when I started in therapy. And for them to be willing to even answer the questions, I was honored that they would do that for me, because they could be very bitter, because, you know, it took me to go through my journey. It took me out of the house some, because I was in the hospital periodically. And it was not easy. I am sure having another like me probably wouldn't have been anyway, even now. But I was glad that they were a very significant part of my healing.